not one, not two, but three young entrepreneurs are coming to you tonight from my hometown, Chicago, Illinois. We have on three amazing gentlemen that we are excited to introduce into the nation. The Handshake Bet fellas, presented by Betr, recently presented by Betr. We're going to get into all of that. Join Elevation Nation tonight. Parker and I are so excited. What's amazing about Elevation Nation is that we get the opportunity to bring on some really unique, inspiring, and elevating individuals. And these three guys epitomize that. Ironically enough, I've known two of them since they were probably in diapers. Little young whippersnappers. And now they're out there crushing it in the real world. Handshake Bet boys, welcome to Elevation Nation. Kozub, Pat, James, we are so excited to have you on the podcast. Welcome, fellas.
Thank you. Yeah, we are pumped to be here. This is my first interview ever, so let's get after it.
Hell yeah. We've taken a lot of people's interview virginities. But guys, this is awesome. One, because this is an Elevation Nation first. 5 people having one conversation, which is amazing. 2, you guys are pretty fucking legit now. You guys are pretty big. I would say. I'm like scrolling through TikTok. I was like looking online what you guys are doing, and I want to get into all of that. But first, there's 3 of you. It is Elevation Nation. We got to have each of you guys give like a 15-second elevator pitch. So who's starting?
CEO.
Yeah, our
CEO, big CEO guy.
hello, everyone. James Dvorak, big golfer, have 3 sisters, and I hang out with my 2 best friends here, and we bet on anything. That's it. 10 seconds. Short.
That's a quick elevator, James. All right, Pat, what you got, bro?
To match that, I'm Pat Murtagh from New York, moved to Chicago on a whim to do Handshake Bets full time. I'm an accountant by trade, but I succeeded in my goal of never beginning that accounting job. And here I am now working on my dream full time. It couldn't have gone better.
Love to hear
Mazel
that.
tov, brother. Tycho, what you got for us?
I'm Kozub. They call me Tycho now. I'm going to legally change my name to Tycho, I think, after this whole social media streak. I'm the Chief Growth Officer is the title I've given myself. Basically what that means is that we're just going to go out there and, as James said, find different things to bet on and make sure that we're getting as many people engaged with our platform as possible.
All right, boys. What's the Handshake Bet right now? I know you guys had something before you came on the podcast. What is it?
Who finishes their glass of whiskey first?
All right.
Win that right now.
I mean, it looks like you could win that right now. Fair enough. So break it down. Like, how does that all happen? You guys just like look at each other. You're like, we'll make a bet, and it's just all on a whim. $5, $10. What's the?
Like, as we've got to do this like more often, we've realized that the more we plan stuff out, the harder it is to actually execute. Mm-hmm. So like, it is more on the whim stuff that's like way better. Like when we're chilling, just like watching TV, and then it's like, Game of Thrones is on. Like, let's bet on that. Yeah. Like, it's way better than like let's go like write down 5 bets that we have to make tonight.
We'll plan on going to like a Cubs game, but we're not going to plan on what we're going to bet on at the Cubs game. We're just going to let it flow. Yeah. We've done it long enough now where like everything we think of is something bettable. Like this podcast, how long it's going to be, over under 35. It's like simple stuff like that. We're going to see 3 planes fly by in the background. It's just simple things, and it's just natural for us now.
Yeah, like we went to a Marlins game while we were down in Miami, and we were like, let's just take one lap around the building and see how many bets we can make. And I think in one lap we made like 7 bets. And like none of them were planned. It was all just, there's a bobblehead museum. I wonder how many bobbleheads are in there. And then it's like, there's a virtual reality home run derby. Like we could bet on that. So it definitely is more on the fly. Is when it comes natural, it comes better.
It's pretty incredible.
You are better.
There you go. That was Pat. So well done, man. That's storytelling right there. That was beautiful. It's so cool and obviously very exciting to see. Kids that I know. Kids that, grew up with following their dreams, right? And I want to take a second. You guys probably knew this, but Parker and I, we get deep. We get a little introspective. And one of the reasons we do that is because I think as young men specifically, young adults in the real world, we don't ever take time to talk about our dreams, talk about some of our failures, our feelings, some of the struggles that we've had. And so we're going to get into a little bit of that. So it's like therapy, right? You put a microphone in front of you. It's a little bit of a therapy session. So let's talk for a minute about the dream, right? Pat, you mentioned that, you're an accountant by trade, but the dream, it sounds like, was to never actually be an accountant, right? I want you to give you the floor for a second and talk about why that is. And then obviously, boys on the left and right, talk about the dream as a whole here.
It sounds like a new dream that you had, or maybe your parents were not very.
I'm going to be an accountant. I am running these guys' taxes for them now. It's a little trickier, so the accounting will come in handy.
And the CPA still coming along.
Yeah, still got to study for the CPA, so it's not all done yet. Mom and Dad would have my head if I completely threw it away. So, but yeah, to answer your question, like accounting was always a means to an end. Like you guys said, you were going to work at EY. It's a good paying job. It's going to pay the bills. You have upward mobility in any of those big four firms. And it's a trade that's always going to be around and always going to be needed. But entirely, it was always, I want to do accounting because I can do accounting in an industry I want to do. So the long-term plan for me was always do accounting at a big four, then somehow parlay that into doing something in the sports industry and accounting. And then the big picture dream is always to be an entrepreneur, have my own business. But never did I expect it to happen as quickly as it has. I don't want to call it luck, but it was very much like just divine intervention that we are where we are today. So yeah, I mean, accounting's great. It's really important and it's very useful, but it is boring as all hell. So that was not what I wanted to do with my life.
I avoid those floors within our office building of all the accountants. They look like they're intense. Like they're all, no one's talking. I'm like, all right, I'm out. Like it's very intense floor. So I take it you guys are not first-time entrepreneurs. This can't be the first thing, you've thought of, whether it's made money or not. Like, come on, let's hear it. Like, was it something back in middle school, high school, college?
I was in third grade, and I was selling paper picture frames. So I'd cut out a cool design of nice paper, and then I'd sell it to my friends as a picture frame. Had a stand on the back of it. Kid. I don't think I sold.
You are absolutely adorable. Oh my god, that is such a cute little hobby. Love that.
Yeah, I was the Smetzels, and those bracelets back in the day, those arm farms. I used to hustle those. My sisters would get them, steal them from them. I wouldn't steal, I'd borrow, but then show them off at DW. Getting the recess grind going. It was awesome.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I have a vivid memory of James potentially having from wrist to elbow. All those bracelets on his forearm.
I was 2'8" by then.
Hey, nothing wrong with being short. I get it, bro. Okay, so amen to that. So obviously entrepreneurship runs in the blood here. We all went to Indiana. You all went to Indiana together. Got degrees. What was the kind of the thought or the path upon graduation, right? We were kind of talking before the podcast started. Myself, Parker, growing up in the communities that all five of us really grew up in, very similar. There are expectations bestowed upon us from our parents, from society, from what our friends are doing. And I want us to get deep for a second and think about that, because that's not whatever, you can go against the status quo. That's some actual heavy shit, right? To be different and to have the balls to say, you know what, I'm going to take a different path. It's not they're the cool entrepreneur kids, right? People think that for a week, and then you realize how actually hard this shit is. This is why I'm so excited to talk to you guys, because Parker and I know exactly what you're going through. It is not fun. It is not easy. It's amazing, and it's the journey of a lifetime, but it sucks every single day, and you doubt yourself every single day. So I want to talk for a minute, right? You're in college. We're going into the real world. We had a plan of attack. We had a plan for the real world. When did we realize, we gotta think about something else here, because I can't do this normal life? Did that ever happen, or did this naturally kind of just evolve?
Yeah. So I'll start with while I was in school, right? My plan was, let's get a job, let's get paid, let's start doing something. I studied supply chain management, which it's rather out there, right? Not a lot of people study that. It's kind of nice. I got a job actually in St. Louis and got shipped out. I had no idea what I was gonna be doing. I walked in the first day to a warehouse wearing a polo.
Where you work?
Amazon. I was at Amazon, sorry. So I walk in wearing a polo, I'm feeling good about myself, got nice shoes on. My boss looks at me and he's what are you wearing? I'm like, what do you mean? He's this is a warehouse. You wear sweatpants and a t-shirt, and you come here and you bust your ass with us. I'm like, all right, let's do this shit. That was my welcome to Amazon. And it was probably about that time that I was like, yo, I got to get out of here.
Well, there's another reason why.
Yeah, so the part I left out about that is in that same day, I also found out that my weekend was going to be gone. I was working Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So while these guys were out drinking on their weekends, I was in a warehouse, shipping some boxes, having some fun with my associates, making sure we're hitting our rates and whatnot. So we did that for about probably like 8 months, and Handshake Bets was on the side. We were still developing on the back end. And on January 1st, 2022, we said, hey, we got to get our shit together. We got to start posting every single day, make this more religious, just make sure. And it was at that moment on like the new year, right, that we were like, we need to refocus. I was getting very sick of not having a weekend. I was missing my family a ton. I know James was succeeding very well at his job at the time, but I think he was beginning to get a little bit bored as well. I don't want to speak out of turn for you. And I think Pat was still grinding in school, and we wanted to take our boring lives as we kind of outlined, and I'm going to say it's shitty life, and make it a better one. Right? We just wanted to make it more fun. We wanted to make it more engaging, and that's kind of why we made a strong pivot.
Yeah, and it was difficult. I mean, he was in St. Louis, Pat was in New York, and I was in Chicago, and we were all just meeting at night virtually, trying to bust our balls. We called it the Handshake revamp. We went down the crypto route. We went down the NFTs. We got a whole blockchain integration. Went down the app. Like, we had all these technological improvements to it, but we also focused on the social media, just kind of doing it in the side, hoping that it would help our tech. But in reality, the social media is what proved to be just our biggest success for us.
Yeah, the thing with the social media is what we always said to one another. It was like, we can't control the tech. We're not tech guys. We can't code. We can't develop anything. That's out of our hands. The one thing we can control is posting on social media, growing attention, growing the brand. That's something we're fully capable of. And like Tycho said, we needed to treat it as a religious job that we post 3 to 4 times a day. Eventually, you throw enough shit at the wall, something's going to stick. And that's entirely what happened with TikTok. We just put stuff out there and had a few things go viral. And then like from there, it was like, okay, this is actually something legit that we can make something out of.
Boys, I'm not going to lie here. We might need some help because you say you throw enough shit at the wall, it sticks. Parker and I started posting TikToks of the podcast. We must not be as cute as you guys because they didn't go viral. So I think I need to like have Tycho wrestle me in Jello or something for me to go viral here. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Pat's a champ, so that's why I'm facing Tycho. I can get a dub. Sorry, Parker. Go ahead.
All right, so let's bring it back though. Where'd the idea come from? Everyone has that moment. We're like, "Whew, okay, I like this. This is a cool idea." And then you like, it's in our head. Like, where did that come from? And then I got another question for you after.
So we were studying abroad right when COVID hit. So we got sent, about a month and a half early, maybe almost 2 months actually.
Yeah.
And I was just bored out of my mind, right? As all of us were, and these guys were too. And like we were golfing a lot. And, I was like, one day I was like, I'm going to just do a puzzle. And instead of just me doing a puzzle, I was like, I'm going to post it on my Snapchat story and see if anyone cares that I'm doing this puzzle. And crazy enough, would they bet on it, right? So I started, doing the puzzle, giving updates every now and again. And people were like sliding up like, yo, over 4 hours, under 9 hours, like stuff like that. And these natural lines started to be formed where you do the outside, pieces first before you get to the middle. And then, I hear that Pat calls James one day, and apparently these guys had about the same idea.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, I called James, just good buddies do. Like, I was like, need to catch up with my homie. And we were talking, shooting the shit. And I think the way a lot of people felt during coronavirus, or during the pandemic at least, was like, I have so much time on my hand, I need to do something with it to come out of the pandemic better than I was before it. And so I, was trying to come up with business ideas, and I would write them down, and just for shits and giggles, honestly. And then I was talking to James, and he's like, "Oh, me and Tycho have this business idea. It's like we could bet on anything. You bet your friends, and it's all peer to peer." And I was like, "Dude, I have the exact same idea. It's called Betcha." I showed him my notepad. I was like, "It's right here, dude. The same exact idea. Betcha. Bet your friends on anything." And then James was like, all right, let's do it.
Well, yeah, the craziest thing, though, before that was that me and Tyler played a virtual pool game. It was, we literally built a straw grid, and he played pool at his house, I played pool at my house, and we had $450 wagered on it. And, like, I don't know how you're supposed to play pool on two different tables at the same time, but we made it work, but still people were willing to, like, bet on it. And that's when it said, oh, my gosh, this is something that we can run with forever and ever.
Guys, there was $75 on stripes. On stripes. Balls.
And we had
Okay.
It was crazy. Like, just people are willing to bet on anything. We're just trying to expose those natural lines, as we say.
We believe that there's sports betting, but then there's the other half that can be gamified, and that's what we're trying to do. Maybe even 75%.
I think like betting in general is like there's like 19 million people that say that like they're bettors, but only there's like 2 million daily active users on FanDuel and DK. And like that means that there's 17 million other people that obviously are in that range of betting. Why aren't they betting? That's because they don't have something that they want to bet on. They don't have an activity that they want to be betting on.
Yeah, and everyone's competitive, and everyone loves challenging each other. And if you're competitive, you're not necessarily a bettor, but you're a handshake bettor, and that's what we're targeting.
Interesting. Okay, so you guys, you're playing pool on FaceTime. I have no idea how that would even work, but the idea is flowing, right? The ideas are going. You're probably calling each other, maybe after work or whatever. You're bored.
At this point.
Yeah, I mean, and you're like, all right, this is cool. Like, okay, we're getting people on Instagram, whatever, hitting us up, and then all of a sudden, it starts to take more of momentum and more form. And walk us through that moment. You're like, wait, we're doing this. Like, we need to actually put our foot forward. And I know you said, Tycho, about, you had your job and everything, but there's always a moment where it's like, okay, now we have something.
So, yeah, I think it's the first golf outing we had. So we started this from the summer, junior into senior year, and we launched senior year of the Super Bowl. But before that, we had a golf outing right before senior year. And I think that was when we're like, oh, shit, let's fully get into the app. Let's fully get into the tech. And then that second revamp we're talking about, that was the fully like, holy shit, our social media is really going to take off. And that was Pat's DoorDash video. And he bet on the DoorDash total money he would make. And it was awesome. An awesome line. Great line. Thank you. And that's what really we're like, oh, this actually might play on TikTok. This can go viral. And that's where we did the revamp, post at least 2-3 times a day on TikTok. Even if they're shitty videos, still post them, still get something out there. People will view it. And that's where we kind of just grow the social media. And then June 1st is really when we moved in here. And that's when it just went off to the moon. And it's just been, actually, we haven't slowed down since.
No, guys, like, I'm not kidding. Like, what is it? It's 8:25 today. Like, 2 months ago, like, we were still working our full-time jobs. Like, this has really happened at an insanely fast rate.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just super excited about it. Yeah. We've only been doing it for 2 months, right? Like,
I do also like kind of want to not wrap up the story, but like talk about what the 2 years from when we started in May 2020 to where we are now. Like, we went through so many highs and lows and valleys and mountaintops. Like,
we failed.
We crashed and burned multiple times. Of like, we launched. We had the golf outing and we wanted the app ready by then. It wasn't ready. Couldn't use it. Then we launched on the Super Bowl with an app that was borderline functioning, but we time and time again would host events, bring the app out. People were excited to use it, and then the first interaction with it was garbage. They couldn't make bets. They couldn't join groups, and like, when you miss them on that first time, you lost them forever. They're like, all right, they're clearly not serious about what they're doing. And then there were complete lulls where we wouldn't even work on it. Like, we had kind of, like, we were like, oh, we failed. Like, I don't know if this is even feasible anymore. The tech's too hard. The legal's too hard. And we were like, I don't know if we can do it. And then we kind of bottomed out, I'd say, like, in the fall of 21, I think was probably like the biggest lull in our time. 22, sorry, fall 22. So, like, when they were both working full-time jobs, I was in a master's program. We were, like, borderline not working on it at all. And then, like they said, around January 1st, we were like, we put a lot of money into this. We can't just give up. We got money from our friends, too. Like, we can't let them down. We need to give this one last 100% effort, give it all we got. And if it doesn't work, we move on to the next business venture. But we got to go out dying trying. And that's exactly what we did. Like, we went 1,010%. And like Tycho said, like, everything's happened so quickly since then. And we're where we are today, unbeknownst to ourselves that we'd ever get here.
We were in such a lull that we let the coin toss of the Super Bowl determine what we were going to do with the last $5,000 that we had in our bank account. Because we literally did not know what else to do. So we said, you know what, for every follower we get, like, let's just keep growing the community. We're going to put another dollar on heads, another dollar on heads. And we just let that, we built that atmosphere, that experience. And like that video, not even just like the followers we got from it, but what we did is we showed people that like, we're crazy about betting on anything. Like we'll bet our livelihoods at that point. That's not necessarily livelihoods, but the last of Handshake Bets potentially.
Yeah.
On the Super Bowl.
That coin flip, I'd say, was the act of God. Of where, like, if we lost that coin flip, Handshake Bets was probably done. Like, because we had to pony up $5,500 on a bet, and we were like, okay, if we win this, now we have a $6,000 budget to work with. If we lose it, we're out $5,500, and like, what are we gonna do now?
On top of all the money we've already spent.
Exactly. So it was like, God's gonna tell us whether or not we should continue on, and he said,
And it was heads.
Yeah,
Let's go.
and he said, keep going, boys.
I mean, talk about a little bit of fate, a little bit of faith, right? But more importantly, I think there's something at play here that was in your guys' control, right? Coin toss, maybe not. But there's something we love here at Elevation Nation that all elevators we've talked to, every single one has. And we think it's a huge gap that differentiates the elevators from the rest of young people. And we call that mental fortitude, right? And so let me break that down for you guys in Elevation Nation that's listening. Mental fortitude consists of 3 parts. Self-awareness, understanding who you are, right? Vision, understanding where you want to go. And accountability, knowing how to get there, right? The steps you need to take, holding yourself accountable each and every day, right? And those 3 things unlock a plethora of opportunities for young people. But the problem is, we are never taught those things in school, right? Those things are always, maybe some are inherent, maybe some are developed over time, maybe some come with maturity. And so Parker and I are on a mission to help young people, to help young elevators master their mental fortitude to help them conquer the real world. And it sounded like you guys went through those ebbs and flows, and I would assume at every low point and probably every high point, you all took a step back and said, well, who are we and what do we want, right? Self-awareness. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? Do we still enjoy this, right? You probably took a pause and said, well, what's our vision? Do we want to be a crypto? Do we want to get into blockchain? Do we want to bet everything on a heads coin flip, right? And then accountability was when you guys decided to ramp this up. Kozub was working 6 to 6. You guys were working full-time jobs. Pat's in a master's program. And you said, I don't care. We're going to hold each other accountable. And each and every day, we're going to do a little bit more to elevate ourselves and we're elevate Handshake Bets, right? And that's what's so fucking crazy about mental fortitude. Everything I just said there is not complex. Those are 3 very easy things. Yet no one does all 3. Only elevators do all 3. Some people do 1, maybe 2, but not all 3. And I think you guys really epitomize that concept of mental fortitude because that's what you needed to succeed. What do you guys think about how you kind of exemplified mental fortitude through the past 2 years and some of the struggles that you've gone through?
I would love to get out front here and pat one of my friends on the back here. If anyone held people accountable, it was James. Like, he every day was up our asses of like, we need to do this, we're doing this tonight, like, you guys need to put in your hours, like, we need to get our investors on board doing this, we need to be doing that. Like, it was very much James like putting the team on his back on that January 1st date of like, if this is going to happen, like, everyone needs to be 100% committed all the time. And he like led that train by far the most. Like, that was so needed in our company. Like you said, accountability is one of the most important things. And if everyone's not 100% committed, it's never going to work. And James, I don't know where that came from you, but that was very important.
It's honestly just like the trust I have in them too, though. Like, you can always be on top of it, but like, it's also knowing that they'll execute it after. Like, you can tell them, hey, can you please make sure that you do your research on Bitcoin, do your research on Ethereum, Polygon, when we were going down the crypto route. I knew that they were going to do it. I knew the team was going to be a part of it. You just have to be the motivator. And I get that honestly, like, from my dad. You know Mr. Deep, Sam. He's a military man. He's efficient. He does Ironmans. The guy doesn't sleep. I kind of work after him, but it's more these guys and everything.
Yeah, I think sorry.
No, go ahead, Tycho.
I mean, I think there's like what was really impressive about like this team, the three of us especially, is as we continue to do this. Like we've always had the vision of like everything is bettable, but it's like so much more than that. We've always had how do we make money on this? How do we actually execute this to a point where we can now go to a market and take over and build this community? So I think like as much as like James having the accountability, and then I think the shared vision is what really drove us to the point that we're at right now.
So we talked about vision and accountability. I would say accountability is without a doubt the most important, because you can have self-awareness and vision, but if you could have self-awareness and vision. I could sit at my desk every freaking day. If I'm not holding myself accountable to go do something, then I'm still at my desk. But I think for you guys, what's really cool about mental fortitude is the idea that you're talking about it from your business perspective. You're talking about it that you're holding each other accountable from your business. But mental fortitude goes beyond what you're doing in business. It goes beyond what you show up to your podcast every morning. Mental fortitude comes with you when you wake up in the morning and you go to bed at night. It's the things that keep you accountable, making sure that you're keeping yourself in check, right? Self-awareness, know like, wow, like, you know what? This job isn't right for me right now. I want my vision because I want to be successful down the road. Those things have nothing to do with handshake bets, but they allow you to then elevate yourself even more so to do handshake bets. And when you have three people who understand that, look at you now. You guys don't even work your other jobs. You're sitting behind a mic and you're doing what you love. That's what mental fortitude is all about.
And I think it definitely helps that we're best friends, and that if we don't disagree on something, we are not afraid to get in each other's ear, wrestle.
Hell yeah, it's huge. That is huge.
You know, there's a business when your boss, like in our old jobs, like if you don't agree on something, you can't really talk back. If we don't agree with each other, we'll let you know like that. And I think that's why we're so successful, is because we trust each other. And we really just are not afraid to talk your shit when it's needed to happen.
Talk your shit.
Like if you don't agree, we make sure that you get it out there, because if you hold it in, it just ruins the chemistry and it ruins the team itself. Just make sure you get it out there and just be truthful to everyone.
Boys, I mean, you guys have maturity like beyond belief, but I want to take a second and talk about working with your best friends, because I also have the privilege of doing that. And like you said, you can get in each other's ears. Okay, so I'll give a quick snap story. Parker and I had an interview, when was it? Monday. And Parker essentially spent the whole time talking shit about that I'm bad with girls and I don't have a girlfriend. So I'm going to talk some shit about Parker now because I have the fucking mic. Parker today calls me. We have our 9 a.m. twice a week morning, just like check-in, beyond obviously what we do after work. So I'm walking to work. Parker's like, bro, when are we going to fucking just go? When are we going to go? Like, just like freaking out. I'm like, I haven't had coffee yet. I'm like walking to New York. I'm sweaty. Like, I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? He's like, when are we going to go, dude? Like, I literally thought a Marine was in my ear. And I was like, bro, take a deep breath. We are making progress every single day. Like, whether it's huge, small, or we make a mistake. Every single day you put time, energy, effort, and passion and heart into something, you are moving in the right direction. It might be backwards for a step or two, but you are moving in the right direction because you will have had to make that mistake at some point. So, working with a best friend, you can call him out on that shit. So I was like, are you good? Like, did you get this off your chest? Like, are you all right now? Like, are we good? Can we move forward? We're fine. Stop freaking out. And the reason why I say this is because 99% of the time it's me that's like, what the fuck we are doing? Like, and Parker has to be like, bro, it's all good. And I'm like, no, it's not, man. Like, it's not all good. But this time it was reversed. So I'm going to rub it in your fucking face, Parker. Love you.
I love you.
I don't know what came after me this morning. I was like, damn, maybe we switched places or something. It was pretty fun. But like, guys, sometimes I really do get in there like that. Let's motivate. Let's go. Like, screw everything that we've done. We got to reflip. We got to revamp. We got to do. Sounds like you guys did that a few times, right? Like the revamping. I just love that. It's crazy that like you put the future of the company on the coin flip. Like that, like you said earlier, epitomizes handshake bets. Like that's amazing. I think that's so freaking cool. So
time for Be Real.
No way. Oh, yeah, sweet. Let's go. Can we really do it?
Hell yeah.
Is it in?
Yeah.
Let's go. Love it. All right. So last 2 months, you said, have been pretty crazy.
Yeah.
2 months that you never expected to be at. And we're getting to be real right now from the other side. I like it. Walk us through that experience. And I just, talk through it. Maybe I don't know how much you guys have talked through it together. Maybe a lot, maybe a little bit.
We haven't really processed it, but it all started June 1st. Yeah?
Yeah.
It looks like you want to say something.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll go June 1st. We can start with June 1st, yeah. So June 1st, I was working for a month now at Amazon in Joliet, so about 4 hours closer to home than St. Louis. And we were still miserable. I was waking up. Actually, James was waking up early to meet me after I would get home, and we'd make bets in the betting corner. So before he'd go in, right when I would get home, before I would go to bed, right, we'd make a bet for the day.
We would then commute our hour and a half to our other jobs.
I would go to sleep. I'd wake up at like noon. I'd post another probably bullshit video, and then Pat would help us, support us in there.
I was at this point in time having the FOMO of a lifetime in New York when my two buddies now moved in together, working, making videos. I was like, this sucks. They're going to axe me out of this company. I'm so unnecessary now. But they've kept me around. They saw me as a valuable part of the team. And now I'm out here, thankfully.
But then one day, it was probably, I think it was a Tuesday or Monday, because I was home and you were home at lunchtime. And James goes, dude, what if we bet on the train turning right or left? And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, dude, there's only two options. You can go straight or you can go right. I'm like, yeah, he goes, let's bet on it. I'm like, oh, bet, dude, let's do it. So we do this, and did you guys stop refreshing all day on
No.
socials?
Never stopped.
On the TikTok, you just get notification, and you just, it's dopamine. It's insane.
It's a really bad addictive drug. Getting likes and getting follows, I must say, it's not good how good it feels.
And then we just talked about I'm not very good with girls. About a week and a half later, we get a DM from this amazing woman, just an absolutely
Carol.
She's the best. She's now our coworker.
It's our sister now.
Yeah, she's awesome. We get a DM from this girl. Great play by Mikey Locks, having her DM us first. And she's like, hey, are you guys interested in doing this more permanently? Want to have a meeting with an A-list celebrity? Blah 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 blah. We're like, what? So then James and I were like, yeah, we'll take a meeting. So we go out to dinner, or we go out to brunch with this guy, and he's like, yeah, dude, I love what you guys do. We want you guys to make content for us full time.
Yeah, we're starting a startup. We can't tell you who it really is for, but we have $50 million raised. Would you want to come join? Obviously, we asked our questions, asked who it was, and it was Jake. Jake Paul was one of the investors, but also it was Joey Levy. And Joey Levy founded Simple Bet. All those live lines on DraftKings and FanDuel? His company provides those. So he was B2B, but now he started a company B2C right here. This beautiful one, Betr. And Jake's the kind of the Dave Portnoy of Betr Media. And they go, Handshake Bets fits perfectly here. We love how you guys bet on anything. We've been wanting to do that forever. Would you guys come on and be part of the team? And we're like, yeah. That's the easiest question ever. So we ended up selling Handshake Bets to Betr, and now we're full-time employees working Handshake Bets as a kind of a brand underneath Betr.
We skipped a couple of steps there. There was a random flight to Puerto Rico we took to go make content, where we didn't even have time to call Pat to tell him what was going on. So you
called me and just said, Pat, we're gonna go to Puerto Rico. It's more or less a handshake agreement if we do. I was like, all right, go. And they went to Puerto Rico and came back with a contract more or less written up. And we were like, what is happening?
So yeah, you can see the storytelling needs to be a little more improved here. But the funny thing about that is that we were at dinner having more negotiations with Betr, and it was 5 p.m. They're going to go to Puerto Rico. So Jake lives in Puerto Rico. They're going to go to Puerto Rico, shoot some the BS with Jake Paul episodes. We're going to meet the team. And they go, hey, do you guys want to come out? And their flight's at 11 p.m. And we're like tonight? And they go, yeah. And obviously, I call his parents. I call my parents. We're going to go to Puerto Rico.
Mom, Dad, can I go to Puerto Rico with these guys I don't know?
Oh, my God.
I actually booked the wrong flight. I did. We booked the wrong flight that night. We're gritty enough, though. Same mental fortitude. We don't give up. We went to the airport hoping that we can get in a flight at that time. Didn't get one.
Obviously, we bet on it.
Yeah, we didn't. Flight out at 4 a.m. Got there. Went to a hotel. Met the whole team for the first time. And the next thing we did that morning was go to Jake's, and they dropped me and Tycho off with our boy Derek at his house. And we hung out with him for an hour and a half, just shooting the shit with like the most famous person in the world right now. And it was pretty cool.
Most
He
famous
is.
world.
A famous person. Yeah. Love Jake. I don't know the most famous person in the world, but come on, bud. I know we work for him now, but come on.
He's up there. But turned out to be just a really genuine guy. Met the CEO, met the CFO, like met everyone on the team, and we just fell in love. Came home. Pat came out and flew out right when we got back, and we ended up.
That was really impressive.
That was some good storytelling right there. That was like, we had some noises. We had some guys.
I was gonna say very dynamic.
I want you to take
you guys brought it.
I want you to take a second because you said this is the first time you kind of told that story, and James is right. We'll work on the storytelling, but that's okay. First time. I want you to take a deep breath. We said this was going to be therapy. Take a deep breath and like look at each other and actually realize that you guys just actually did that. Right? You tell that story as if it's like that's like a dream. You guys did what most people work their entire lifetimes to do, right? And you did it with your best friends. You did it without killing each other. And you did it around something you're passionate about. And you did it at 20 whatever, right? Or 24? 23? Like, okay, let's take a second and like think about that, right? That's incredible. And
you couldn't write this script like 3 months ago. You guys
like,
were saying it. And now you're here. Like,
coin
come on,
toss
Sam.
to this.
3 months ago, going into summer, we're going to Memorial Day. You guys are probably just doing your same bullshit whatever weekend with your friends, drinking, whatever. You're going into Labor Day, new men, the new life. Like that's crazy.
No, like Memorial Day, like right after I finished my grad program, and I had like a month-long lull where like I had no job because I had like my full-time job starting. I was like studying for the CPA exam all day, every day. I was door dashing. Like my life was miserable, and like Handshake Bets was like we weren't killing it at that point. We had run into some walls with our tech. On the blockchain side, we ran into some legal walls, and the anxiety and stress of it all was like starting to really weigh on me. I was like, this is the worst. And like the thoughts go through your mind of like, I want to give up. Like my life would be so much simpler, and like I could just fit in with everyone else and like live a normal life. And then 2 months later, we're where we are now. It's like I went from like I want to give up. Like I don't even know if I had said this to you guys. I was like thoughts went through my mind. Like,
Yeah, we had that phone call with you.
Yeah, I was like, this sucks, and I kind of want to give up. And they were like, we can't. We're close. We have traction. And then a month later, we're in negotiations to get acquired by a startup. None of it's hit us yet at all.
I didn't really believe in like speaking things into existence until about like I don't know, probably 3 weeks before we actually got hit up from Betr. I was like, yo guys, like I think I'm gonna quit my job and just do Handshake Bets full time. We had like 2 viral TikToks. I'm talking about quitting my job, and these guys are like, I was still working in an awful schedule and they're like, are you? But that's not meant. Like that's not a good decision. like you need to check yourself. And I was like, no guys, like it'll be fine. Like, we'll figure it out. And then like sure enough, like we did. You know, like and I think that's the part. Like now, like I think this is actually the first time. Thank you guys. I'm actually looking backwards to say like, well, like we actually did do this.
Yeah, and like the craziest thing, like back to your first question, is like we grow up in that upper middle class area. Like I was a finance guy, like the most typical thing you can do. And like we were all nervous about quitting our jobs, but we went on a little Miami trip. We met Rick Ross, Tyreek Hill, got to
Stop flexing. Stay humble, cousin.
And we were able to just be part of this team that quitting our jobs was totally worth it. And it's only been the first 2 weeks of doing it, and just the possibilities of it after is what we really are just excited about. And what I want to express is just like it was the best decisions we ever made.
Yeah, and then I do want to wrap up this giving ourselves our flowers moment right now of like now the real work actually starts. Like we're talking like we've made it. We're talking like, oh, I can't believe we've accomplished everything we've accomplished. But it's like, no, now that we've accomplished what we've accomplished, now there's expectations that we need to fulfill. We need to keep killing it. We need to do better than we've ever done. Like the real work has really just begun.
Does that worry you at all? Like the expectations now, they were probably here, but now we're talking expectations that are maybe they're through the roof. Not because you have to get these likes and these downloads or whatever. It's because now it's real. Now you guys aren't doing it as a side thing. This is the only thing. And then on top of that, you're working with people who are the best of the best out there in this type of industry.
Yeah,
It's a little terrifying.
Yeah, it's a little scary. Like you said, we've put all of our eggs in one basket, and it's like if you screw it up, like we could fall back to our boring jobs, but it's like that would be the worst case scenario.
But they're also on our team now, though. Like we have expanded our network to have this awesome team that we're going to make sure that we all succeed together because we just going to work with each other. We got Mikey Locks, man. He invented the nerd feed. He founded Bleacher Report Betting. He is our guy now. We have Jake in the corner. Like we have the media tycoons, and we're just really fortunate to have that.
Yeah. I think a big turning point, Parker, to kind of get to your question too, was for a little bit while we were doing this revamp, posting every day. I was like, "Yo, content is content. Content is content. Just post. Just do it. Just get it up there." Last week, right, we were in Miami. It's like good content is content. No longer is just content is content. You gotta make sure that it is the right video. It's the one that's going to play.
Don't force it.
You can't force it. It's gotta be in the expectation went from let's get 1,000, let's get 1,000,000, right? Or not. I guess it's not an expectation. It's more real every single time we post now. And Pat said this the other night. It's a consistent daily performance review based on people that we do not know. We're not getting rated from our bosses. Like at the end of the day, we're getting rated from people liking, watching, and sharing our videos.
Yeah, and which is like incredibly vain at the same time of like we need views, we need likes, we need attention on social media. But like Tycho said, that's more or less our daily performance reviews from our boss. Like they have live data every day of, oh, they got 500,000 views today. They're killing it. Versus like our second day in Miami, we got like 2,000 views across 4 videos. And we were like, they're going to fire us. Like we're doing terrible. So
that actually happened. The second day we were at a content house, we got 2,000 views.
It was terrifying. Like we were posting videos. It was our worst day in 2 months. And we were like, we're going to get fired. So like,
but then we went back to our room.
Oh my God.
Went back to our morals. We figured out that this is who we are. We went back to the simple, stupid betting that you can bet on anything, and it worked out.
I love the CEO coming in, giving rhyme to the reason and the reason to the rhyme. I like it.
I gotta make sure we're all good. We're all good.
Yeah. All right. So before we get to our next 2 sections, before we close out, what is next? We've talked about this whole little honeymoon phase you're in. What is actually next for you guys and where you're taking Handshake Bets?
So we're going to start our football season coming up. It's going to be very exciting. Tailgates every weekend. We're going to be traveling the country. We're going to OSU, ND. We're going to be there. And we're going to go to Bears 49ers. We'll be there. And we don't really have a week 3 plan. We might be in Puerto Rico, or we might be up in Lambeau Field for the Bears Green Bay game, Sunday Night Football. But our plan is to bring our show, the Betting Corner, to each tailgate. Also just expanding the Handshake Bets. And the Betr app will be launching soon in October, where you can actually place those micro bets on those next pitch, next play, next pass, everything. And that's hopefully going to be October 15th was the date. And then we're going to go live in Indiana, and we're going to tear up Indiana while we go on a little RV trip with the Betr boys.
Well, boys.
Yeah, and I'd say bigger picture thing, too, of like it's really building out our media platform in terms of the Betting Corner podcast, doing new types of series on TikTok, experimenting with a newsletter, doing stuff like that.
Yep.
And then at the same time, the long-term vision is we still want to do the product of Handshake Bets. I have not given up on there being an app where you can bet friends on anything. You submit the results, you exchange money. I still really want to do that, and that's like a big passion of mine. We got bought by Betr to be media personalities and to build a brand around betting on anything for Betr. But the big picture long term, that's still something I really want Handshake Bets to achieve.
Yeah, and we'll start back to the newsletter. We're starting the Handshake Herald next week, Thursday. We're really excited to launch it. It's kind of just like the morning brew, but for betting and betting on anything. You're going to have our picks. You're going to have some stories on how to bet on anything. And you're going to have our own opinions throughout it. It's going to be awesome. We'll send it every Tuesday, Thursday. That's kind of like another way for us to reach the people that are going to just read through their emails. Because now you can listen to us, you can read us, and you can watch us. Those are the 3 things that we want to make sure our brand is getting out there. So we can be the biggest bet on anything brand in the world.
What are you getting on that?
Just Sam.
I love it. I love it because Parker and I are doing something very, very similar, right? We are starting our own newsletter as well, right? We are getting in front of people in person for in-person events, bringing together this community of elevators, right? And so I love where you guys are headed. I'm extremely proud of you guys and what you've done. The journey is just starting, right? And so we are excited to be with you guys on this journey and help support you in any way we can. But with that being said, I want to move on to our next section. This one's fun. This is our rapid fire section, right? So we got a bunch of questions. First thing that comes to mind, the answer. Boys, we made a handshake bet at the start of this podcast. One of them being, would it be over 35 minutes? We are now at 45:27 over. We like to talk.
That line, I'll take responsibility.
No. You're good. You are good, James. We like to schmooze over here. The other one was who's going to finish their drink first. I don't know who finished first, but I saw who poured first, and it was the CEO. So it looks like.
I think James finished first.
Did he? Okay. I don't know if it was a top off or if it was an empty glass, James, but that was another bet. So let's get into our rapid fire questions for the day. Obviously, we know the train video was one of the ones that made you viral. But between you guys, as three best friends, what is like the most memorable handshake bet you've made?
It happened last night.
No way.
Oh, man, yeah.
All right, so we got tickets last minute to the Cubs game, and we were sitting in like section like 14, like right behind like third base. It was sick. And James was recording every pitch for Albert Pujols bet that we were making, and all of a sudden, sorry,
Yeah. Okay.
Storytelling. We're gonna take it back 1 second. You guys can go ahead and cut this out. So last night we went to the Cubs game, got tickets last minute. We were sitting right behind like the third baseline, and when we sit down, there's this older lady, older couple with like their son, and they're looking at us. They're like, "Hey, we've never caught a ball." I was like, "I'm catching a ball tonight. I'm catching a foul ball tonight. We're gonna get it to you." Sure enough, James is for another bet recording every single pitch of an Albert Pujols at bat. Ball goes up in the air, comes down right in our section. No, I did not actually catch it. I'll admit it. It did hit the ground. Maybe hit someone else before. Grabbed the ball, ran right to her, gave her the ball right in her face. We got a great picture together, and it is going viral right now.
Yeah, like if you guys want to cry and get goosebumps and have a whirlwind of emotions, watch the video on TikTok. It's set to the Titanic music, and that goes together like peanut butter and jelly. It is.
Please look it up right now.
It's. I've watched it like 1,000 times in the last.
And the husband was speechless. It's been 40 years in the making. Like, they are diehard Cubs fans, season ticket holders, and they turn around because we're betting. Oh, I'll get a foul ball. I'll do it. Like, because we were there with the Betr team. We were there with Mikey Locke. We were there with billionaire Marco, and then also Rizzo and Pat. Like, we were there with the team, and they all chirping, right? Chirping. And she goes, "I never got one." And we're like, "All right,
Tonight.
Yeah.
We got you.
And the damn ball fell to you? How the hell does that happen?
Divine intervention,
Again,
man. Divine intervention.
something's up telling us that it's gonna work.
You know what, guys? I think we're gonna win the lottery.
Hey, you should buy.
And I think you're going to give some of the money to Elevation Nation. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm in.
All right, next one. We just talked about the best one. All right, let's talk about the worst.
Worst
Maybe
bet.
for each of you. The worst bet you've ever maybe made, and it just came out so on the other end. You're like, why did I do that?
I've got mine. This was pre-handshake bets, but we've been making handshake bets since we were youngins. We just didn't know it. So I came up with the fantasy football punishment for my league when I was in high school, and I went to high school in New York City, so we were like, all right, you got to go to Times Square, sing Christmas carols in your underwear and Timberlands. And sure enough, I'm a fucking good fantasy football player. Don't get me wrong. I'm usually pretty good. And I come in dead last that year. And I'm the one who set myself up to go to Times Square, sing I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, Santa Baby, just like the most provocative Christmas carols you could sing in boxers and Timberlands. I got cut off by a cop by the time I got to Jingle Bell Rock, but I made $5 off of it. The video is hysterical.
1,000% getting reposted soon because fantasy football is upon us.
Yeah.
Next week, you'll
Love
see
that.
it.
But that was probably the worst handshake bet that went wrong for me, I'd say.
I think my worst handshake bet was also not the bet; it was the punishment. Sam, you're from the area. You probably played golf at the Arboretum a couple times. I've been in those lakes a couple times for a handshake bet. Was not ideal. You know, this kid is a scratch golfer over here. I've had to jump in the lake just on the closest to the pin. But here's the nice thing about that. Those 2 jumps in the lake are our first 2 videos still to this day on TikTok, and we are never archiving them. They're staying there forever. If anyone ever wants to scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can see little chubbier Tycho jumping into a pond. Long hair.
You looking good, Tycho. Come on now. You looking good.
I think my least favorite one, it hasn't happened yet, the punishment. I'm supposed to get punched by Jake Paul.
I did see that. I didn't want to bring it up because, I didn't want to be encouraging violence, but...
What did you do?
Tycho and I, the other video. So we have the right foot, left foot one that went viral. We made a bet at the airport saying this won't get 17,000 views by the time we land. Off the line, I said we wouldn't, and the loser has to get punched by Jake. And that was like kind of our intro to meeting Jake was we walked through like, yeah, so I lost a bet. Can you punch me now?
Oh my God.
2 mil? Yeah, 2.1. 2.1 million on that video now.
And that was the line.
We said it at 17,000. So yeah, I have to get punched. He's training right now, so he doesn't really want to mess with his wrist. But after, it'll happen. It's gonna be terrifying.
Like your jaw would mess with his wrist.
I didn't want to say that because he's your boss, and James, we love you, but I think his wrist will be fine when he knocks you out. So you're good.
He'd flick. Just a flick.
Yeah. Well, Godspeed. I hope you're okay. Please take a video though. I'm excited to see that.
For the brand.
For the brand. Oh my God. So, boys, we have almost been going an hour, and one of our favorite sections that we end Elevation Nation with every single time when we have these unique individuals on, these elevators who are changing the world, elevating themselves and the world around them, we ask them a very simple question. And that is, what is your mental motto, right? We stress mental fortitude here at Elevation Nation. What is a motto that you live by? We each have ours. Every single person that's come on the nation has theirs. And the coolest part about this is no one has ever had the same motto that they live by. So, Handshake Bets, boys. We want to know what your mental mottos are. Who wants to start us off?
I think I'll go first. Military background, carpe diem, seize the day. That is how I live. Wake up, making sure that each day you can strive to be the best that you can. Because, like, at the end of the day, you don't know what's going to happen next. We obviously don't know what's going to happen next. And make sure that you put as much effort as you in today that you will tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, so you don't have any regrets in the past.
Love that.
Beautiful.
I'm going to, what's the word? Censor what mine is, and I'll replace it with a different word. But it's don't be a weenie. Is basically just like, don't be lazy. Don't be like a booze bag. Don't be someone who sleeps in. Like, don't be a quitter. Don't anything like that. Like, just don't fall into like easy lane. Like, work harder than those around you. Like, do things differently than those around you. I won't say what the word was, but yeah, don't be a weenie.
Love that. Mine would be failing to prepare is preparing to fail. It's a very basic quote. You guys kind of understand what it means already, but I look at that as, like, I feel like I see the world differently sometimes. So for me, I have to, take some more time to dissect things. And what that means is I have to actually work a little bit harder than everyone every single day. I stay up a little bit later. I wake up a little bit earlier. And those are the times that I'm able to prepare just a little bit more when maybe my competitor is not.
Gentlemen, those are beautiful. I'll share with you ours just so you can get a little sneak peek. But Parker and I started this probably almost 100 episodes ago, and we each came up with our own mental mottos. And mine is oh fuck, Jesus, I already forgot it. That's a bad start. Jesus. I think I remember now.
Are you okay? Right? Do you want me to go first?
I think I'm having mercury poisoning from all this sushi I had. Live curiously, don't curiously live. That's what it is. And the meaning behind that was I think life is meant to be explored. I think you need to get outside your comfort zone and try new things. I think you should live curiously and try anything one time and see what you like. But I don't think you should curiously live, which means not have a mission, not have a plan, not have a path, and not have a vision, right? Kind of just wandering aimlessly and letting things kind of go with the flow and wherever life takes you. Sometimes you got to grab life by the horns and take control. So it's having that balance of curiosity combined with a plan is my mental motto, if I could ever fucking remember it. Go ahead, Parker.
But we should put on a hat for you or something. You look in the mirror and you can read your mental motto every morning.
Yeah, right. I need a tattoo.
All right, mine is as simple as this: proud to be, and that is the way I've gone about my life. Is that I am proud to be where I am right now. I am proud to be in the situation that I am, even with all the ups and downs that I've had throughout my life. All I have to do is continuously remind myself to be proud of where I am, because there are always challenges that you go through. There are always days where you wake up and you're like, why am I doing this? This is really, really hard. I'm not supposed to be here. And oftentimes as young adults, we fall into that trap. So I continuously remind myself that I'm proud to be here. And, some days suck, some days are great, but I'm not falling into that trap because everything's all right. And, the bad things will pass and the good things will come. And it will continue to do that because that's what life is all about. If you have all good things all the time, I like to say, what is good? If everything's good, what is good? Nothing. So that's another one that I like to say. But boys, 56 minutes. We've had an incredible conversation. I love the storytelling has come around, I will say. I love it. We'll have to continue to work on it. And, you guys got a podcast every day to be able to do that. But all I got to say, this is my favorite part of the episode when, we can all just kind of worship each other and whatnot. I just got to say, you guys are awesome. You guys are crushing it. And it's so cool to see other young entrepreneurs, people who are just out of college, people, a year out of college now, following their dreams, who had the mental fortitude to quit their jobs, to mental fortitude to put the company that they've been spending all their time on a damn coin flip. But that's what life is all about. That's what it is all about, because at the end of the day, what young people have on their side is time. And you guys realize that although time for a while, it was pretty difficult. Handshake Bets may have not have felt it was going to be the thing, but over time, something happened and it flipped and it changed. And now the momentum is in a whole nother world. And what's amazing is if it doesn't work out, you still got time on your side and you can still do so many other things, because this is just going to continue to open up doors. And it all starts with mental fortitude, knowing who you are, where you're going, and how to get there. And I think those three things, if you guys continue to think about that and how you elevate your life, sky's the limit.
Yep.
Let's go! Boom!
No, Parker, that was actually electric. You guys have been freaking amazing too. I really do appreciate you guys having us on. And we gotta give them a follow. You guys gotta give us a follow at Handshake Bets. It's my blog. Have to. No, I'm playing.
Yeah, no, and I same to you guys. Like what you were building is awesome. The network of people that are like-minded, that don't want to be stuck in the rat race for the next 40 years, that want to do something different with their lives, something that they're actually passionate about. Like being able to bring those type of people together. Like I think there's so much that can happen just from that network alone. Like possibilities are endless. Like you said, sky's the limit. Definitely would love to be ingratiated into the Elevation Nation fraternity and see what can happen from there.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate everything, and cheers to you guys. You guys have been killing it. 180 episodes. That's unreal. That's mental fortitude to you guys yourself. Like it's facts. We know how hard it is to do it, and 180 is amazing. And congrats to you guys. You guys have been killing it, and thank you so much for having us.
Elevation Nation. With that, until next week, peace. Boys.